know, a man said to me one day, he said, "You're a brave man putting yourself out there like that, telling all them stories about the crazy things you've done." He said, "People will put you down." I said, "Should they put me down anyways? What does it matter if I tell the stories or not?" That's the nature of people. People will put you down, and that's just life. If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. Here we are again. We're back with another episode of Thailand Tales in the Land of Smiles. And I am smiling. Now, oh Jesus Christ. This one is about the time I was in a boot in Bangkok on my second night back after returning to the Land of Smiles after that awful pandemic we all had to go through. So as soon as I got back to Thailand, I was hell-bent on partying and having a good time. And that I did. And that night I was out and I was full of beer, and I thought to myself, I'll head to Nana Plaza, I'll find myself a bit of female company, and I'll go home for a bit of aerobics. Single and ready to mingle that time. Full of beer and here. So yeah, it's time to get a tuk-tuk and head in that direction. And I was walking over to the tuk-tuks, and this little stunner in a black dress came my way. I says to her, "Hey, where are you going? What are you doing tonight?" She says, "Oh, I'm going to a party right now, but what would you prefer to do?" And I says, "Well, I was thinking of having another few beers and going home. What do you think about that?" And she says, yeah, if you could give me a couple of thousand baht in the morning, sure, of course I would go with you. It was on like Donkey Kong, just like that. But that's the way it can go here. If you're monging around like that and you're into that, that is the way it can go and often goes for people. So that was the story. So anywho, off we went, drinking more beer and back for aerobics. But something happened. It took a strange twist. It was a little bit far from where I was staying. It was about an hour's taxi drive away from where my room was, which I hadn't actually realised. And whenever we drank a few beers, we got an old takeout and we bundled into a taxi and hit for my room. But didn't little Missy fall asleep in the taxi? And she woke up as a completely different person than the one I had met. She turned into a right little strappy trollop. It was all moody and groany, down in the dumps she was, probably with her life and all that she does. But anywho, south it went. Pleasantries were dying out between the two of us. It turned into a vibe from her side of, get this over with quick, F you kind of shit. I'm out of here as soon as I can be. Me being the empath that I am, drink or no drink, I was getting a little bit sickened by this. And a little bit put out over this too. But nonetheless, I was raring to go. I wasn't going to turn back now. We got into where I was staying. She took off into the bathroom. I thought to myself, we'll get this over. Let her go on her way, and wham bam, thank you ma'am. It's not the end of the world. She walks in and she says, "I'm on my period." And I says, "Oh my good red rotten God, you're not serious." She says, "Yeah, be quick. There's not a lot." I says to her, "Absolutely not." I says, no go. You never says that to me. No way, Jose, not a notion. And God's green earth, am I getting involved down there with that? Now there was the dirt track that was there, but I says no. She says, "Well, you know, I'm put out after everything, like, you still have to pay me." And me being a decent old fella, I says, "Yeah, sound, I'll pay you." This stage I was paying her to leave. And she almost had it too. She almost had secured that money for nothing out of me, being a nice old fella, having plenty of bat, not long off the plane, you know, plenty of spins, plenty of readies. I was almost going to do it until she just kept being rude and ignorant, making me feel like a fucking idiot, if I'm honest. And I was walking her home, walking her to the ATM so she could get a taxi. And I just says to myself, what in the name of good God am I doing? This little trollop doesn't deserve any money from me. What would I actually be paying her for? She turned the whole thing sour. She lied about being on her fucking redzers. And she continues with her toxic little rude behaviour. So outside the shopping centre, I says to her, actually, what am I paying you for? What would I be paying you for? She said, and I said, sorry, I'm not giving you anything. She said, are you serious? And smacks me square into the face. I look at the shopping centre security guard. He's bursting laughing. She's taking pictures of me with her phone, saying, I'm going to post you to my friend group. You are bad farang, bad farang, bad farang. Get out of Thailand. I says, good riddance and good luck. So, that was your episode 7 of Thailand Tales. I hope you enjoyed it, and give us now subscribe. Nonetheless, I will keep giving you the videos. Now it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. I took that as a lesson not to be trying to partake in any of those activities ever again. That was a clear instruction from life to go up the fuck on and not to be at that. Subscribe to me and we'll keep this thing going. Peace and love, everybody.